Alright, we should be recording, and audio is very weird right now. And by the way, I'm clicked out of the game. That's why there's like no animation or anything. But when I click in, you should hear audio, and I won't. Although here, actually no, maybe I might be able to do something here. Should be this one. Oh, monitor off. No, so it should be monitor and output. That's what it should be, and I'll hear it. Maybe? No, maybe not. So, OBS is capturing audio. I'm not hearing any. And I do not know why. I can try some things, though. No? Alright. So yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It seems to be just the audio interface is not providing an output to the headphones. But there genuinely is like no reason for that to be the case. But hey, at least in theory it does mean there will be audio for you, I just can't hear it. At least this is also a game that you don't really need to hear audio in. I'm gonna keep my headphones on just the same though. Yeah, I'm just saying, I really only have two things noted. I have looked at a few reviews for the RX 7700 XT and 7800 XT. Haven't been looking too closely because I don't think I would buy one right now, but there's other reasons to that. I mean, it's like I should be having to pay for the laptop before long, so it's like I don't want another large expense. Why are they doing anything? I don't think I told them to do anything. And they should be asleep. Yeah. Oh wait, no, now they can... Okay. Anyway. So yeah, there's that. There's also... I would only use it for testing, and so at the moment I don't know how much I want to do it, because I don't have testing in mind. I don't have much testing planned. Where's the path up? Oh. Oh, no, it's right here. Okay. Just gonna do that to maybe help them. But still, I mean, the reviews have been looking decent. I mean, people complaining about pricing, I think, mostly, and also the naming. I mean, pricing, we'll see how that settles. But naming is a little funny. I understand, but it is a little funny still. Yeah, get that too. Which, just to... Oh, no, okay, I didn't see that was already marked for it. For those of you wondering what I mean, it's just like the AMD's edition of the 7900 XTX has kind of done weird stuff. Like some would argue it should have been the 7900 XT and just a regular 7900, no XT. That's what they should have done. I'm not capable of disagreeing with that. Why? Oh my god. This is why I really do hate this whole thing. I mean, I do have people that it is at 1. They shouldn't be doing this. I mean, I should be able to say, no, cooking up here. Mining is less important than cooking. Cooking is essential to survival. Mining is not. Why is mining here? I'm sorry, this is really a terrible system. And what makes it so terrible to me is that I understand completely what they're trying to do here. I do, I really do. I'm just gonna do that for a moment. But it's like, this is so bad of how, so terrible system how to do it. It should not be based on the actions like this. Not like this, at least. Not like this. It should be based on these. It should be based on these. Okay? So botany covers like multiple things. Botany covers growing, I believe. Botany. It's like, why do we have 3 separate things all on botany? And also, the whole cut plants and harvest should be the same damn thing. Okay, it really should be, because it's all to the same purpose. It's the same thing. Those should be unified anyhow. Okay, but it's still, you could have just botany as one thing. Hey, you're really good at botany. Do all the botany stuff. That should be a thing. That should absolutely be a thing. Now we got culinary for cooking. Does anything else use? Actually, I'll bet nothing else does. And it's also, how does this make any sense? Crafting is not based on any skill. Isn't that silly? But smithing, we have a skill there. Carpentry, have a skill there. It's like tailoring, I think, is a skill. But it's like smithing, carpenting, and tailoring all are a form of crafting. So a major skill, and this is the kind of thing that just occurred to me that I'm getting to. You could have a major skill that's crafting, that provides a bonus to all of these, but then specializations under it, like sub-skills that can go up. So you could have somebody who's very good at crafting, but more or less lousy at carpentry. So they have a base crafting skill, but a bonus to carpentry. And I can't think of a game, but I'm certain there are games that have done that. That would be so much better. And then you could have crafting and then like a sub-priority within that. So you'd have organization here instead of this weird 2D thing. It would go 3D, but it's like, okay, the width would be like, actually it would be a lot. Well, no one. Because you'd reduce carpentry, construction, smithing, and tailoring all down to crafting and then something underneath that. So that would be 4. You'd turn to 1 here. Intellectual should just be like research. Why is that under artist? I'm sorry, but why is that? I mean, what even would be the benefit? Create works of art. Okay, but I'm sorry. I'm a writer. Technically, I'm an artist. My intellect helps. Do I need it to write? Not completely. I mean, it's like research and artistry are different. It's like when I was doing the anti-aliasing article, which is I will still hold that up as like my best example of doing research for an article, and my best researched article for OCC. Nothing of my experience writing books, because I think I'd written 2 or 3 by that time. At least 2. Nothing of that experience helped in my research. And nothing in that research really has helped in my writing. Aside from just a general, I'm doing more writing, but that's a writing skill, not intellect. So it is like I don't understand why artistry would be under intellect. I'm not sure what you would put it under. And I do understand that being a separate skill. I absolutely agree with that. Okay, that there is true skill to real artistry. Modern art, here, let me just clarify this. I've said in other videos, I don't know any of these. I define art as something that is created uniquely by that artist. And I probably said that poorly, but basically, if you look, well, here, this actually will work for me. My favorite composer is Tchaikovsky. I can recognize Tchaikovsky. He has a sound to himself, okay? If I hear Rimsky-Korsakov, who I also really enjoy his music, he also has a sound to himself. Now, if you listen to Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet Fantasy Overture, you see that Tchaikovsky did study with Rimsky-Korsakov. You definitely can see that. But it's like, that's Tchaikovsky. So it's like, there is... That's what I mean by saying it is unique to the artist, that only Tchaikovsky could write Tchaikovsky, only Korsakov could write Korsakov. Okay? So to me, then, some of this modern art stuff, where I saw one where somebody, all they did was have like a stack of buckets with sand, and they popped a hole in the lowest one, so that way it would spill out, and then the whole thing would topple. That's not art. There is nothing about the artist there aside from their audacity to do it. Okay? But that is not itself art. Because that's just an accident. Alright? I mean, it's like... There's nothing artistic there. There's nothing about the artist there. If anyone else did that, it would produce a almost identical result. I mean, let's say equivalent result. Because, I mean, yeah, technically the sand would flow differently. There would be things like that. But that's like, we're just getting down to the randomness, or rather chaos, of physics. In which case, then, it has nothing to do with the artist again. Whereas, look at, say, the Mona Lisa, which, I'll admit, has never really impressed me, but it still is. It's like, you look at that. That was Da Vinci. It's like Da Vinci did a very good job there. You wouldn't confuse that with a Michelangelo painting. Because he did do that as well as his sculpture. I mean, it's like, you can recognize artists in their art. If you can't recognize it, I don't think it counts as art then. It was my point there. But it's like, so there would definitely be a skill, but intellectual? No. That would not be it. Okay, that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, now that I know, this is stuff that whenever this goes to 1.0, and I do review, I'm going to be going through all this again. Why is tend not tied to a skill? Okay, we have a medicine skill. What does that even impact? Oh, that's right, I keep forgetting. This is also so stupid. It should be saying on these. It's like, this whole UI is garbage, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Foxy Voxel. And by the way, I forgot to say the key was provided by Tinsley PR for the Irregular Corporation. I'm sorry, Foxy Voxel. It really is garbage, okay? I could write up stuff to completely overhaul this that will make more sense. But part of it would be collapsing things down and having, like, well, I don't want to say specializations. Because you could have somebody specialize in smithing under crafting, but it wouldn't exclude them from also mastering carpentry or mastering tailoring. You could have somebody that could do all three. So I don't like the idea of saying specialization there, but sub-skills. I just want to, yes, there is, yeah, I just wanted to check and see that, yes, we do in fact have the audio playing. But yeah, it definitely, don't have it be, oh, medicine, relevant skill here. No, relevant skill needs to be shown here, because this makes a hell of a lot more sense to mouse over and get that information. Far more sense than this. This telling you what the points to the skill makes sense, yes, and therefore it explains you want to say what the skill is. But you should be naming it up here. Okay. Okay, so yes, that should be under medicine, that makes sense. Marksman for hunting. Actually, that doesn't make sense. It should be a fighting skill with marksmanship and melee underneath, because it just knows that. Because you do also have a melee, which doesn't tie to anything. It would only be used for combat. But you can have people go hunting with melee weapons. So, really, this should be... It should work with both. It shouldn't be based on just marksmanship. And now, yes, they're not as effective if they're hunting with melee weapons, but it still is. Dieth here, with the short sword, would actually go and try to hunt with that. Wouldn't go and get a bow. So, this actually should be very much either based on two skills, or there should be a general hunting skill or fighting skill that marksmanship and melee would be under. I mean, that, or they need to change the AI, where if she goes hunting... Actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like... It's just this icon makes it a little hard to tell. But if she goes hunting, she should go get a bow. She shouldn't be using the sword then. Yeah, anyway, so... Then we got construction, obviously construct. Okay, let me see what the others are. So construction might only be construction, but then it's also carpentry. Okay, so yeah, the carpentry is what it's describing there, because you have to work at one of the things up here. You have to work at one of these. Because of that, yes, it does make sense that has to be under crafting. So but technically to build this building that's out of wood does take carpentry, but that's under construct. So it's like, okay, I get that. I could see mining, though, being connected to construction. And I think I would be inclined to do that. Yes, they are different skills, but in video game logic, it would make sense to collect them together if you're just trying to simplify things. And it is also in real mining, because you need to do like support braces and such. There is certainly a level of construction. And you need to have some understanding of how to deconstruct things to do a mine safely. Growing, botany, and I already said harvesting cut plants should be the same thing. Animal husbandry and animal handling. You know, there should also... That actually, when you stop and think about it, makes a lot of sense. Animal husbandry is one thing. Animal training is another. Like, legitimately, those would be separate things. They should have added a column for that. But it would still be all under animal handling. Because animal husbandry does have to deal with the breeding of animals. But to actually train an animal to become a pet doesn't necessarily overlap there. I mean, it's like that's... And it's also one of those, like I was saying, you know, cooking is essential to life, mining is not. Animal husbandry would be necessary to life as far as the agricultural component. Training wouldn't be. I mean, it's like the sheep are already going to be more or less domesticated animals. So is the cow. But just training animals, no, that's like an extra. So separating those actually would make sense. Yeah, steward and hall can be anything. Like, I mean, that doesn't have to connect to anything. But let me also just see. Does that... So it also means that there is nothing tied to melee, which makes sense because they are restricting it to just... Oh, and speechcraft, too. Which then actually, yeah, that's even... Speechcraft should actually... Well, there should be, like, who should go talk to the merchant? Because when you think about it, it would make sense that you can have one specific person do that. So the idea that, oh, who is it that I need to do that? I need to look through, oh, speechcraft of 3, well, yeah, speechcraft of 3, 4, because the bar is experience level within leveling up. So, oh, there we go. Evet would be the best right now. Yeah, so why not have a dedicated thing here where it's like, because, I mean, that would make sense. Every time a merchant comes, you need to find the time to go and talk to that merchant. That makes absolute sense. That you would engage, that you would have somebody that whenever a merchant comes, you engage with them immediately to talk to that. You don't need to go and find somebody to do. No, just this person has the job, has the responsibility of going and doing that. That is absolutely reasonable, but it isn't. Wait, what? Hang on. Here. Oh my god. This is... What does it say? Deals more damage with weapons overall, which implies then that melee actually improves your effectiveness with a bow. This has turned into a review thing, because I've never actually looked this closely into it. But why should... It shouldn't be named melee then. It should be named combat. And then marksmanship... Well, marksman... which it actually should be marksmanship. It would be their skill, their marksmanship skill, or their skill as a marksman. So marksmanship is actually the better name for the skill. Anyhow, although I could understand they don't want it so long, but then you got animal handling, so yeah. So it should be combat, under which marksmanship is a thing that you can specialize there and have like a bonus on top of whatever combat is. But then it's also hunting. If you're not going to have them go and always grab a bow, should be based on combat. And then you could just mention here, relevant skill, combat, which, well, here, for Everett, with Yvette, sorry. I don't know why I kept saying Everett. Yvette, blah, blah, blah. Some days I can say things. Should be combat 8, and then, like, plus 10 marksmanship. That's what it should be. But yeah, this is... It really is just a mess. It's like they had... I'm only speculating here, but it feels to me like this was they had an idea... I cannot talk right now. They had an idea early in development. They drew this out, and they've just stuck with it, even though they have done so much more since then, that and they've just dragged this along. And it's like, as I said, I could redesign this. I would collapse it down to the different skills. I would also collapse down these skills and have sub-skills. I would also say, basically, screw you to the 5+1 thing. I would collapse these down to... Oh, hold on, let me see. It would be... Now I'm trying to think. Would I want an agriculture skill under with botany? And no, I would actually be comfortable keeping animal husbandry separate from agriculture, which is basically botany. So it'd be 1, 2, 3 crafting, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, it would just be 10 of these. Because Speechcraft could be its own thing, but it's also, I'm not sure how... Speechcraft is used so little, I'm not sure how much I really care. But, well, used so little for my experience. But we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Alright. So wait, we have 13, but it's like, I'd take out... Oh, that's right, because I'm kind of split here. It's also just because these don't map 1-to-1 here is part of the reason why it's so awkward. But I would do that so it would only be 10. So there'd be 10 of these. And then underneath, you could prioritize within. So it would be 10 plus 1, with could have 1 to 10 and then a nothing, which is just don't do it. But then within it, I'd have priorities. So like the crafting, I would want smithing, carpentering, and tailoring as sub-skills to crafting. So within crafting, I'd say, you do the smithing, don't worry about carpentry and tailoring. I would do it that way. But it would be a sub-menu then. And also a sub-skill. So I'd do it that way. And then this would be only the 10 wide instead of 1, 2, 3, 4... Well, no, it would have to be wider. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It would have to be more than 10 because you have things like Patient, Convalesce, Steward, and Hall that don't map to any skill. Well, 10 does, but... Well, actually, you could have just Patient, Tend, and Convalesce all being a medicine thing, even though Patient and Convalesce is not necessarily based on the medicine skill, but you could still group them that way. And I was counting medicine in the 10, so it actually would be there. Steward and Hall... those would actually be would have to be separate. But you could even put that down as just like maintenance or chores. Actually, chores would be the better idea, to label these as chores and then these as everything else. But yeah, do it that way, and then you just have sub things underneath it. And it's like, you might be thinking, oh, but that's, so much more complicated because now you've got, it becomes 2.5D. Isn't 2D nice? Look at this. This is not nice. There's nothing nice here. This is a mess. And there's so little sense. Like how you go, botany. Yeah, not botany. Botany. And it's the whole wise cut plains and harvest stuff. This is a mess, okay? What I'm suggesting would reorganize it. It would have a logic to it. It would be organized. You might not like it. That's fine. I'm not saying that what I would come up with is the best. I'm just saying it would be better than this. Okay, enough of that. I'm sorry, it just so annoys me because I see it. I see the path. I see what can be done, and it's not what we're getting. That just annoys me so much. And because I've spent so much time in the game, it annoys me even more. I mean, it would be if I spent, say, 10 hours in the game reviewing it. Some of the stuff probably wouldn't bother me as much. But because I actually, what does Steam say? Because I've spent 32 hours in the game over many months now, it gets to me. It does annoy me because it's like I've got the time and I know this isn't that well done. And also I will add this, something that I had said I thought would be good quite a while ago, is the ability to, like, give half priorities to stuff. So, like, you know, the cutting here, if I could just go in here and, like, cut plants and just, like, tap a thing that's now at 0.5, 0.5, 2.5. So it's like, yeah, this is a higher priority than everything else because there's so much to do. Or even just being able to hit this and say, do this, instead of having to tell Kalina, go and do it. Actually, how good is she? Botany, she should be good. Why did she screw that up? I didn't want the sapling out, by the way. There can also be the question of why is it that you don't have... Hang on. That's true. I could try doing that. Okay, I want the goats. Okay, so, in case you're not sure why I've just done that, it's because my understanding is the when they are assigned to them, they'll follow them out and will do the hauling. So it is like, you know, you chop this stuff down and clean up after yourself. Why are you running to do this other stuff? But yeah, so now it should be they will follow them around, although they're not following them very well, and like help with the hauling. At least that's my hope. It doesn't seem like they're doing any of that. I have no idea what they're doing. Maybe they're just actually going on because they're hungry. No, they're just doing their own thing. I got nothing. I really have no idea what they're doing. Also, I feel like saying an iron ingot stockpile just out in the middle of nothing really should be decomposing. Like, it should be rusting. It's only iron. Yeah, you're exhausted. Fine, go to sleep. I know, I'm about to get that. Okay. There it is. The hitch from that. Hey, I had news to talk about. Sorry, just, I was kind of hoping there would be some I mean, there really should be a way to turn these after they're built, if they're built wrong. I mean, it's like, I can do all sorts of stuff here, I can do stuff with the fences. Doors, it would be reasonable, and also be nice if you could have it on diagonal. So, you know, like this. Like how I have it there, it would benefit. But yeah, so... Going back to the GPUs, it does seem like the 7800 XT is what a lot of people are really enjoying. The 7700 XT seems also decent, but it's... I think everyone would say, yeah, it should be like $50 less expensive. You know, it should be the 400. It shouldn't be the 450. But I mean, to be fair, everyone is always going to want the things cheaper. Well, I mean, sorry, but kind of nature of the beast. What is this? Silver, okay. Which, is that a thing you can do? Research. Hang on, it's just there is something you actually should... No, that... Wow, that legitimately is something you should be able to do. You should be able to make your own coins. I'm saying, the implication doesn't seem to be that there is a government such that there would be a mint. So why not have it be that you, can just mint your own coins? Well, there wouldn't be a central mint, so why can't you mint your own coins? There, so you're going to ripe... Carrots. Oh, yeah, very high. High, very high. Very high. Okay. I mean, it is just... I do remember I wanted... I mean, barley is just so important because I need the hay. But beets, cabbage, and carrots all have the... Actually, yeah, that's true. I need to extend this out. All have the... Oh, yeah. Didn't need to do that. Are all direct food sources. And I want to have the ability to, like, have it seed over here and then have it actually harvested over here. But obviously I do need the seeds first, so, yeah. And, you know, it also just occurred to me, one thing that, and it would work with tailoring, is if you could just, you know, do a canvas like this that could go over that. I mean, even a coarse canvas could potentially work for keeping off hail, but letting sunlight through. And you know, it's like, the problem you would have is it would be something that, I mean, even the roofs have a, somehow respect the 1U design. I mean, yes, they do span this way, but for such a canvas covering, you would need the ability to do an actual 2D shape. A plane, to draw out a plane, which isn't what this game really allows you to do yet. Maybe they will add it, but I'm not holding out hope on that. I mean, this has been since the beginning, so I'm not holding out hope. Okay. I will admit, I do kind of hate being harsh on games like that, but at the same time, it's what I do. How's it supposed to... If I don't... Even if anything I say, anything I write is never read, it still is... Because I am doing reviews, I should be as harsh... As critical, I should say. I do like thinking that what I do is critiques, not just review. Because I do want it to be that... You know, somebody were to read it, it's a... They're not just seeing that, oh, this guy doesn't like it, but it's seeing a, this is why he doesn't like it, this is what he thinks is weak, and therefore should or could be done better. That is how I'd much rather it be seen. Because that's genuinely what I want it to be. I want it to be that this game, all games, can become much, much better. What? What does that even mean? How is a wild animal reserving a plant? What? Although, I just realized that, actually. Hang on. I just remembered that light... these things do help keep away, animals. So, I do actually want to do that. These should be fine. And very high. Although that is true. Medium. Intensity shouldn't need to be turned up. Yeah, see, now that did just set all of them to very high, which it should not have done. I don't want the priorities to be very high. No. Oy vey, they really, like, do not have a sense of how this works. Do that. Because seriously, guys, I need you to take care of these. These two. And it's also, I mean, it's like, legitimately, why is Stewart so low? So late in all this? It does not make sense. That's another reason why I'm such an advocate for it should be, kind of need to add more of these. Why I'm such an advocate for it should be, oh, I didn't realize that, well, okay then. For there being as many levels, priority levels, as there are things that can be prioritized. Yeah, so the animals are definitely not doing crap. I'm turning this off then. Because, I mean, if they were going around hauling the stuff, awesome. They're not... I can't even tell if they're following the damn people. So, no, that's not bothering with that. Did I buy him, maybe? Although, hang on, there... Since I'm pretty sure Speechcraft is supposed to help with trading. Yeah, good at bargaining. Alright. Could sell a cat. I could sell the cow. I was actually hoping to see if I could buy a cat. Sorry, buy a cow. Or a bull. And see, that is one thing that I do feel Minecraft might do better at, is, you don't have the male and female animals, which just makes the animal husbandry much simpler. Much, much simpler. Okay. How about sorting not by the weight, but by who has what? Like, I mean, legitimately, I want to see what I can buy. I don't... The dancing back and forth, can I buy or can they buy? Yeah, can I buy or can I sell is not as helpful. I mean, come on. These are obvious quality of life changes. I am fully allowed to crap on the game for it. Come on. I honestly am kind of tempted to sell those, but it's just making any clothing is so difficult. Because, I mean, it's like you have to tell them to do it. They still won't necessarily do it. They won't necessarily put it on. I mean, it genuinely should be hey, I have this many people until I have that, but the moment they put it on, it doesn't count anymore. That is, I would consider that a bug. I would, if I were at Foxy Voxel, I would be saying, no, that is a bug. We need to change that. Because it is simply nonsense that you cannot, yeah, just meeting there. It is nonsense that you cannot tell them, hey, when clothing falls apart, make new. Like, that shouldn't have to be a special statement. But somehow it is. What are they doing? Up that down. I mean, oh my. I mean, true. At least they are actually hauling. But why aren't the animals? Actually, yeah, legitimately, why aren't they? Hang on. Here. It's possible that the AI just got broken, confused, something like that. Boy, have I got a lot of cats. I think I might need to start killing them. Oh, man. Let me actually see. What is the oldest cat? Sandy is the oldest cat. Could just release them, too. I mean, I figured that cat won't be useful. That was fast. Holy crap, that was fast. And I have no idea where it happened. Hey, there's a goat hauling things. Yay! There's a lot that aren't. And there's still so much to haul. I mean, seriously, this is so terrible. I will grant, yes, they need to keep working on the AI. I will grant that it's just their AI needs work, but it still is. Come on, it should be a priority to do those actions over just roaming. Okay, I mean, it's like it's. And it is also, once I turned it off, turned it back on, that should have reset things as well. I mean, it's, yeah, we're just... And the feature is old enough, I don't think you can just say, oh, well, it's still just buggy. It's like, it's been in here for so long. At some point, it's you can't just be like, oh, it's the early access. It's early access. You can't just do that. Okay, I mean, it doesn't quite work that way all the time. Eventually, they do take responsibility for issues. And I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm just, like, for anyone that's would say, oh, but it's early access. It's like, that just means bugs can be expected, not that bugs shouldn't be solved. There go those polecats. Anyway, I still have things I can talk about, don't I? Yeah, it does seem like the 7800 XT is the better of the two. Oh yeah, and I think I stopped off by saying if I were to buy one, it would only really be for the test system to test with. And I don't have any testing coming up soon, so it can wait. You can let prices fluctuate, but mainly it's two things. So the whole, I don't specifically need it. It would only be for testing. And the other is, with the laptop coming up, I want to make sure that I've got enough funds and such for that. Because I think actually, yeah, if I were to buy that and not pay it, well, I would have some time. Framework lets you know beforehand, before they're going to charge you, is my understanding. But I couldn't afford both purchases at the same time. So, and because I don't know exactly when the framework charge would be coming, I can't just purchase this other multi-$100 thing. That would be irresponsible. Yeah, on rasterization, they do seem to just murder NVIDIA. At least what they're targeting. So like 7800 XT does appear to beat, from what I was seeing, does appear to beat the 4070 in rasterization. Ray tracing, no. Although I looked at the level 1 text review of the 7800X, and Wendell made an interesting point that I do think is worth considering. Is that his point was essentially, what it boiled down to was, AMD does have very good hardware. Like they've demonstrated that with how they've improved the AI stuff and with like Rock M and such. That's their... AMD technically has a few things, but more or less the competitor to NVIDIA's CUDA. That when AMD has improved that, optimized that with the same hardware, there's fantastic performance. So, I mean, true, that's different from RT. It is. But it's still that idea that, no, the hardware isn't the problem. It's figuring out the optimizations, getting the right software implementation, and even potentially, getting developers to optimize, but also consumers to understand what does and does not matter. I mean, it's like, because something that seemed talked about was how Shadow of the Tomb Raider, some people are still using that for collecting data in. Makes sense to me. It's I like Shadow of the Tomb Raider for being used that way, and that it is a game you can expect people to play, even though it is older. It is still graphic. I mean, true, it's been a while, but it was at the time a good-looking game. The graphics were good. It's like, it can be a good representation of an older game that wasn't a bleeding edge, where crisis level kind of thing where it's going to be pushing hardware. So it's like, if you just want something that's going to be representative of those older games, that plenty of people, there's more older games than new, it makes sense to use that. But it was also pointed out that its only ray tracing effect is shadows, which is something that AMD's ray tracing solution is quite good at. Or at least it typically shows better numbers there than some other effects. I do wonder why. It's like one thing I know I've talked about this. I once saw some people do an analysis of how NVIDIA and AMD works, and it was basically, at the core is the BVH, Bounding Volume Hierarchy, which is, trying to think, can I use, not so much this game can I use it to demonstrate it, to illustrate it, but it's, yeah, I mean, I kind of can, but it's like, the first top level hierarchy volume for this this wolf would just be like a rectangular or a cube. Let's just say it's a cube, so that way it's always cubes. First would just be that. A ray goes out from the camera and hits in here. And let's actually say it is up here. It might be like, hey, I hit the wolf. Let's go to the next volume to see if it's actually in there. And in that case, it might be now, a cube, the 1/8 the size, because, half on each dimension. So you'd have one cube here, one cube here, one cube here, one cube here, and I'm not going to worry about the back edge, just the front. It might hit that and be, if it hits over here, it might be like, okay, I didn't actually hit the wolf, we don't need to worry. If it hits over here, it's catching the top of the wolf's head. If it hits down here, it's catching the legs, potentially, or the body. So it's like, okay, if it's down here, then let's say it's right here. All right, we need to go down another bounding volume, which is a still smaller cube. And if it's here, it might be like, okay, that's not hitting the wolf. Actually, if it's hitting here, then it's hitting the wolf. And you're just basically working your way down, refining, until you are on the surface of the wolf. If you took the BVH all the way to that level, that's where the difference is. And I don't remember which is which. One of them, either the RT cores of NVIDIA or the RT accelerators of AMD, one of them is very good at traversing the BVH. It's amazing at that. But what it's not good at is you don't take the BVH all the way down to the surface of the, well, in this case, the animal. You don't take it all the way down to the surface of the model. You use it to just be like, okay, we, like, let's say it's right here. So it's near the leg, but it misses. You're not going down the BVH enough to realize that it misses. So you get to a point where you just stop with that. It's like, okay, now we're going to see, does it actually intersect with a triangle? Because all these models are actually just points floating in space, but they have lines connect. One of the shader steps, the vertex shader step, is to actually connect every point with vertices. Wait, no. No, sorry, it's the edge shading step. I think that's right. It's been a while since I've looked at the pipeline, but there is an actual step that connects every point and just connects it to the nearest however many other points, drawing out triangles. The triangle intersect is where you'd actually determine, does the ray hit it or not? That's the final step. It's like one, I don't remember if it's the RT cores or RT accelerators, but one is very good at BVH, not so good at the triangle intersect. The other is very good at the triangle intersect, not so good at the BVH. I think it's NVIDIA's RT cores that are really good at the triangle intersect, not so good at the BVH. The reason why I say that is because I would think traversing the BVH, by its nature, it is an optimized flow. Because you're not having to do the straight intersection. It's going to be much simpler. You can also group a bunch of rays to determine this. And I think that, and that's why I think that it is, in RT cores are better at the triangle intersect, because if they were better at the BVH, and even if AMD's solution was really good at triangle intersection but not so good at BVH, the BVH, it would still benefit that. But if it's the reverse, then a lot of developers might be like, yeah, we only do like, 2 or 3 levels to the BVH, because the triangle intersection on RT core is fantastic. We can do that. We can do it that much. We don't need to go deeper. Whereas with AMD, it might be, hey, we actually want you to do 3 or 4, because that would help us. It could be something like that that's going on, where it's like, hey, you could just optimize, you could have a deeper BVH, and that would help AMD. But that no one's doing that because they're just optimizing around NVIDIA. I think that that's the situation, but it still is. There is that kind of room for optimization, that if you were to do something better targeting AMD, Wendell's point at Level 1 Text was, well, not that specific, but just, you might be able to get a lot of very good ray tracing performance out of these AMD GPUs. It's just, AMD maybe needs to work on the drivers some more to really optimize there. Or the developers need to work on it more to really optimize there. And do you think that's an interesting question? is how much of it, because with AMD there's the whole fine wine thing, which is basically saying, yes, the AMD hardware is awesome, it's just it doesn't get fully taken advantage of at launch. Whereas NVIDIA does also have some fine wine stuff, but not to the same degree, because generally when they put out a new piece of hardware, it's already, like, the optimizations in the driver are already in place, the optimizations in games are also being set up too. So it is kind of funny how that all works. Is it that? Isn't this? Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. I saw them working in the field, and it's like, wait, what? Okay, going to see, because I have these already established. So, yeah. I have them already established, so those can just go to seed. Just start supporting that. Yeah, it is definitely an interesting idea. That's right, and also just a note that from the previous generation might not be worth upgrading. Like if you're on the RX 6000 series, if you're on the RTX 30 series, might not be. But if you're older, like still Pascal, technically upgrading the RTX 580 that I'm running would make sense. But I'm happy with it. It does everything I need it to do. That doing stuff like that, these cards would definitely make some good sense. But it's my brain just turned off. But if you're already on a modern GPU, it might not be so worth it. I'm trying to remember. I did see some comparisons to the 3080. That 3080 in some things does beat it. Will beat the 7800 XT. But not in all things. Like they were. Definitely in ray tracing it would win. I don't remember for rasterization, but that would mean that, like, the RTX 2080, and this is, I will admit, is one reason why I'm kind of tempted to get one of these things, is that, it looks like there's something there, right? Oh, no. That's just, like, yeah, that's just the side of the beam. Anyway, yeah, what happened to that cat carcass? I really just cannot see. Anyhow, I would kind of like the idea of getting one of the, like, 7700 or 7800 XT just as a new top performing GPU than the RTX 2080, and also potentially as a competitor, because the 7700, I don't know what the 7700 would compare to it. 7800 should always beat it. Well, maybe not. Well, no, it should also still beat the ray tracing. So it could be interesting for that, but yep, I'm enjoying this. All right, so I'm just basically going by the colors here. Nope, 3. Okay. And copy, paste. There. But yeah, I would kind of like that, so it's no longer just the 2080 that's at the top. Plus, that way I have more than one AMD GPU in the mix. More than just the Vega 64. But it is also the whole, so long as I'm only recording data at 920 by 1080, it really wouldn't matter. Well, a little bit, but not too much. See, I don't know. I mean, it's already, it'll be a while, but But yeah. Yeah. The other thing I've noted is kind of interesting. So, a few weeks ago now, the acquisition, merger, however you want to call it, that Intel and Tower Semiconductor wanted to do fell apart because they didn't get regulatory approval. Just no one was willing to say, yeah, you can do this. Well, no. Some were. I don't remember. Was it the Chinese? I want to say it was a specific, one of them, specific regulatory body that was like, no. Okay, you know what? Take it back. Cancel that. Cancel that. There's a reason why I'm doing this. There. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm just getting sick of these saplings dying. So I figured just extend these. As best as I can. Which, well, I can't actually extend that at all. Maybe I should just move it. And then that way it'll just, you know, okay. There. So I can't actually set in here when they should be cut. That's kind of neat. Oh, yes. And actually, hang on. Yeah, don't so. So ideally, this way, they will just start putting the saplings here. Because, I mean, you get a lot of saplings. But it is just that this is... The whole tree thing. I get why they would have this here, but it's still stupid. Because it makes no sense to have them next to each other, especially with the whole stunted concept. Because, like, one is going to stunt the other. So what? You need to just have a whole... You need to have, like, a mark here, mark here, mark here. I mean, that's another one of those. I get what you're trying to do here. You're doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong. But this way, at least, you know, the saplings, hopefully, are not just going to melt away. But yeah, so anyway, the Intel and Tower merger fell apart, but... man, there's a lot of cats. But... They have this week announced a deal between them where Tower is going to invest up to $300 million into Intel's New Mexico foundry for... Crap, I don't remember all of it, but basically permanent assets. So it would be like, you know, the actual photolithography systems that can't like just be taken out and moved somewhere else. So it's that facility is specifically going to get up to $300 million of Tower Semiconductor money to help it develop. And Intel is going to be doing manufacturing on 300 millimeter wafers for Tower Semiconductor to help them serve their customers. And it's gonna... They did specify like this main thing that they will be working on, that they will be manufacturing. I don't remember what it was, and I'm not sure I could pronounce it all correctly. Yeah, well, no, it was like some sort of power coupling, and it used both CMOS and DMOS, which I cannot say I've ever heard of. But there was another thing in there as well. So it was like that CMOS that dash thing, can't remember, dash CMOS dash DMOS. And there might have been other stuff as well, but it's like that was specifically named. There's more to it that they would want to be working on, that they'd want to be manufacturing for them. But yeah, kind of interesting, all that. And it does also just... I do kind of wonder what if any of Intel's goals in the original merger plan are being directly satisfied with this. I mean, I don't know. Because they wanted in part for Tower's expertise with certain things, which, I mean, I guess with the manufacturing, you do work with them, so that would be a way to get access to the expertise. But it would also be a way to get access to their money, obviously, as well. So, I mean, it's I don't fully know, but it is, you know, at least it does demonstrate that they are interested in what Tower Semiconductor offers. It's not just a, it wasn't just a, oh yeah, we want to own them kind of thing. I have gold. I didn't realize I had gold. And you know what? Here, we can do that too. I don't think that there's any use to the existence of ore in this game. That it is, you're best off just convert. Although I guess maybe it's denser. Maybe the gold, the ore piles are denser, but I don't really care. I mean, it's like, look at all that. That's an insane amount of iron. I should really just sell that. Some of it, anyway. Oh, that's where it came. Okay. I was trying to figure out how the red current got in some of these spots. That's why. Because I do have, at the ends of these, nothing. But that's also one thing that is a little annoying about this game, by the way. It's less an issue, but how, even though it's all block-based, things can go on diagonals between blocks. So it's like, yeah, what are we actually doing? Okay, there is a domesticated dog that got in there, but I mean, it's... Oh yeah, because it just crossed over that, which well, it does show animals can do it. I don't know, though, if I put a chicken in here, would a fox still be able to run over that? I don't know. I really don't know. And it's like, I have no ability to trust any of these doors or something that an animal won't just run through them. And that's kind of the point I was getting to, that even though it's a block-based thing, movement doesn't follow that strictly, so it can still just be like, yeah, we're going wherever we want. Yeah, let's actually just clear that out. That, so I've got plenty of room here. That too. I have no idea what she just did. How did a shrub get... Oh, wait, no. Maybe that shrub has been there. But I don't clearly remember it. Yeah. Okay, good. That did top off. I was a little concerned that it wasn't going to. There. Okay. And I think I need to do that so they can finally get that. But again, that's a thing to just try to prevent animals from... Well, wild animals coming down here. I don't mind if the domesticated animals do. They can open up the door. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know what I can trust will actually be an impediment to any wild animal. What? How is... What culinary skill? How did her culinary just go up? She's not at the culinary stuff. That's over here. What? I really don't understand how so much of this game works. And I feel that some of that might just be I only am doing this once a week now, but some of it I also feel is just, it doesn't tell you. Yeah, thank you. That's what I thought. You could do it from up here. Why is this not been, oh, that's why, potentially. There's a floor over it. I mean, it still is. Doing it this way, I can know for certain that an animal can't accidentally cross down here. Yvette, why are you not going to bed? I was like, this is leisure time. No, sorry, it's the hour before leisure time. Okay, now it's leisure time. Anyway, I'm going to stop once it saves. And look at all that, though, that they're just going to abandon that. I mean, it is so stupid. I'm sorry, but it should have chores as the hauling shouldn't be the last thing here. This is absurd. I mean, look at how much... we're really not doing cooking. No one's doing tailoring. And there actually isn't any construction, so why is Dieth here not running around hauling everything? It's like, yeah, there is some cooking, but I don't think it's terribly much. I mean, none of it makes sense. None of it makes any sense. I'm becoming annoyed. Actually, I already am annoyed. But yeah, it just... And part of it is I don't feel like any of the stuff... Well, the stuff that I'm specifically complaining about, I feel I complained about when I first played the game. And it's all still here. That it hasn't been improved. It hasn't been fixed. Some stuff has. Definitely, some stuff has. It is... I'm trying to think of how to put it. I don't want to say that it's an evolved or even refined game. It's more like they've added more content. It feels like it's more that than it's just better. Because, I mean, it's the whole stuff I was going through with the jobs and the skills. That hasn't been... They've added to it. They've not refined it. They've added to it. So, yeah, it just... Now, also, to be fair with my criticisms of some of that they wouldn't be able to do easily. It depends on how they have the AI written for making the decisions as to what to do and what not to do. It might be that AI has to have it working a specific way. And so then they're locked into that. They'd have to completely rebuild the AI for it to work any other way. I recognize that. Well, I recognize that possibility. I'm not recognizing that is the case. I'm just saying that is possible. But it's still, you can change the UI. Because it's the values that matter. It's not how it's presented to the player that matters to the AI. So you could still do a lot of the changes that I'm saying I want them to do. Even if it is no, we can't have cut plants and harvest be one thing. We can't do that because the AI expects it to be two separate things. Like, okay, I can understand that. But it's still, you could have them you could have them next to each other. You could also lie and set it to the same priority. Like, just only have the one column, but have them both always have the same value and feed that to the AI. You could still do things like that. But I can't understand the idea that, no, we can't do other things there. Like, we can't just straight up remove one. I can understand it, but it is still it needs such an overhaul. It really does. I don't want it to be, but it's probably going to be that whenever this goes to full release and I write a review, that I'm going to be spending at least a paragraph. It might turn into a full damn page just on how this is nonsense. And I'm trying to think how best to put it. I don't like doing that. I like being able to talk about how a game is well designed. I like being able to talk about how a game is fun and enjoyable. That it entertains me. This stuff isn't currently. I don't like having to go at a game and explain how it fails at that. But I do have a level of enjoyment because it does bring me satisfaction to be so critical of a game. It does. And it may seem counterintuitive, but it's like, no, because as I was trying to say earlier, I think of them, I try to think of them as critiques. That I'm trying to say this isn't good and this is why it isn't good. So that if someone were to read it, they can be like, oh, I understand why he's saying this. And you can disagree with me. I don't care. Go ahead. Disagree with me. I'm going to disagree with you too. It's whatever. That's how things are. But if you can understand, then it's like, okay, that's fine. Disagreement doesn't matter at that point. If you understand where I'm coming from, you can disagree with my conclusion. But if you understand how everything leading up to that conclusion, then you can also be like, okay, we can still try to do it better. I don't think your solution, it's basically I disagree with your solution to the problem, but I can understand that you see there being a problem there, and I can then think about how can I make it better. It's like you can have that nuance there, and that's I don't know if it ever happens, if anyone ever looks at a review and has that kind of revelation, but it's like that is the kind of thing that I see that separates a critique from just a review. In that a review can, many reviews are critiques. Let me I'm not trying to elevate myself by saying, I try to do critiques, everyone else is doing, no. Many reviews are in fact critiques. I'm just saying that the way I kind of distinguish the nuance I have between them is a review doesn't necessarily provide explanation. It does not necessarily lead to a better understanding of why somebody likes or dislikes something. It's just, I like this, I dislike that. A critique does require that. Does require giving that understanding. And I can give one example that, oh boy, if anybody watched these, it could lead to some. But it's like, of the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, I honestly do feel that The Last Jedi is the best of the three. And I know there's a lot of people that say it's a terrible movie. You know what? Here's my feeling on that. And the reason why, I will explain this. This is my explanation for why I feel The Last Jedi is the best of the three. It actually is original. It tried to be original. It tried to be novel. The Force Awakens is just, how I put it, is a fanfic love letter version of A New Hope. Where it's just A New Hope over again, with like, ooh, let's crank this up, let's crank that up. And it's like, there's no actual semblance of quality there. It's just trivial fanfic. Okay, and fanfiction can be amazingly well done. But that's not what Force Awakens is. Like, if we want to get into pedantic stuff, like, Force Awakens is a fanfic. Whereas, like, I don't know the extended universe stuff that well, but I understand that Heir of the Empire, the one with Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, is highly respected. Let's just go with that assumption. That would be, like, fan fiction, where it's like, no, we're treating... No, we say the full thing because it is so good. It is of such high quality. Force Awakens is not that. Okay, it is not high quality. The Last Jedi, I don't mind if you want to say it's crap. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm just saying that of the three, it's the best. The Rise of Skywalker is just terrible. Like, they should show that in film schools for how to never make a movie, okay? Or never tell a story. That's how bad that is, in my opinion. So it's like, if you want to say, no, The Force Awakens is better, maybe because you like how it just copies off of The New Hope. Off of A New Hope. If that's why you love it, fine. But if we could just agree that all three are garbage, like the whole sequel trilogy is better off being forgotten, we're good. The specific conclusion there of Force Awakens or Last Jedi being better, there's no reason to argue that. I have no issue with a disagreement there. If everyone agrees that they're all garbage, I'm good with that. It's just like, it's the cleanest, well, no, it's the most polished of the garbage, but it's still not that polished. I acknowledge that. But it's just, it tried to be a new story. That's why. And it's like, that's how I'm, well, yeah, it's not a critique though. That's a review. That is a review. I'm giving some explanation, but it's only comparative explanation, that it's, compared to The Force Awakens, I consider it better because it is more novel. It's more of an original story. That's, to me, is not a critique. That's a review with slight explanation, because to me, it's also, if you're going to critique something, you should try to keep to only talking about that. You shouldn't bring in comparisons because you risk people not knowing what you're talking about. Sometimes I will bring in other games in a review, but I try to avoid it. But yeah, I mean, but I hope though that explains what I mean there about the whole trying to deliver an understanding of why I like or dislike something and how that is different from just saying I like or dislike something, and also how once that understanding is delivered, the conclusion from that understanding can be different, can be a disagreement. No problem. I don't have any problem with that. That's fine. But here's my explanation. Here's the understanding I'm trying to share. And if people want to add to that, great. If people want to, and it is also people want to say that, oh, well, I don't think that's so important. It's like that we're getting into that conclusion part there. So it's like I might spend pages even. Let's exaggerate. Pages even just talking about the jobs and skill thing in this game. And I know I'm just rambling. But the jobs and skill thing, I might spend pages talking about how that's terrible. And you might be like, I don't think that's so important. It's like, that's you going into the conclusion stuff. It's like, still, here's all the reasons why, here's my description of it, here's why I don't like it. And my conclusion is then this. And you might be able to say that it doesn't bother you, that's fine. But do you disagree that the jobs is overcomplicated with the width, how you've got, it's not directly tied to skills, and, well, not clearly tied to skills. I'm saying those are objective facts. You might think that they're not important. That's fine. And that's kind of the point I was getting to. You might say, that's not important to you. That's a conclusion thing. The fact is, that is how it's designed. I dislike it. That's my conclusion from that. That's that nuance I mean. All right. I have certainly rambled on long enough. And man, I'm sorry. I know I should be stopping. I just want to add, I really wish I had a friend. Like, it's just one of those, I think being able to have a discussion on the nature of reviewing, the nature of critiques, so it's not just me sharing that stuff, but somebody else could be there and an argument, a classical argument, which is you are sharing those points back and forth. You're trying to arrive at an understanding. Whether you conclude at an agreement or not is irrelevant. Like, it could, like, arguing with somebody who thinks Force Awakens is better. It might be, well, better than Last Jedi. We might never come to that, but if we were to go through it, and it's like we both recognize strengths and weaknesses there, and it's the values, like, I value this over that, it's like, that can be interesting. And very, very respectful. Some people only consider arguments today as something where you have to be yelling at each other, you have to fight, and ultimately one side must agree with the other. And it's like that's an argument can lead to agreement, but it doesn't have to. The point of an argument is to achieve understanding between the parties. Whether they agree or not is secondary. It's nice that they agree, but they don't have to. They don't have to. And as I said, I wish I had a friend so I could do all that, but I don't have friends. Yeah, I'm miserable. All right. See you next time.